Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about the topic of photons, and then we are just going to discuss about the concept of the properties of photons. By following up that, we are just giving a description about wave particle dual nature of photons, and then by following up that, we have to discuss about the topic of de Broglie waves. Correct. Now we are getting to the topics. You just think about case what is called as a photon. You just imagine a beam of light is passing through a window. So according to quantum mechanics, it was said that that beam of light consists of hundreds of trillion tiny packets called as photons, which is streaming through the air or even vacuum. Then what about the exact meaning of a photon? So a photon is the smallest discrete amount or quantum of electromagnetic radiation. So whenever you say about light, a light rays consist of tiny packets of photons. So it is a basic unit of all light. Any wavelength or any frequency, the basic unit of light is a photon. So photons are always in motion. In a vacuum, photons may travel with a speed of 2.998 in 10 power 8 meter per second. So this constant is to be referred as speed of light, denoted by the letter c. So according to Einstein's quantum theory, photons have energy equal to their oscillation frequency times of Planck's constant. Otherwise we simply say it is E equal to h nu. H is the Planck's constant, nu is the frequency of light. So Einstein proved that light is a flow of photons, and the energy of these photons is the height of their oscillation frequency, and then the intensity of light corresponds to number of photons. So you already known well, energy is directly proportional to frequency of the light. So when you say frequency increases, the energy increases, or in reverse case, nu will be equal to c by lambda. So we say energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength. So we say the case shorter wavelength have higher energy, longer wavelength, right, like red color, will have lower energy. So yes, Einstein explained the concept of how a stream of photons can act as a wave and a particle. So that is a very famous experiment, Einstein's photoelectric effect. So now we are just going to discuss about the basic properties of photons. We already said about light consists of a numerous number of tiny energy packet called as photons. So we say the photon have zero mass and zero rest energy. So we already known the case. We say zero mass represents there is no rest mass. By means that there is no rest energy, so it represents that photon is always in move. So there is no chance of rest mass and rest energy will be there. So that's why we say photons are always exist as a moving particles. So they are elementary particles despite lacking of rest mass. So it's an elementary particle, just like electron, photon, neutron. In an atom, light consists of photons alone. So it's an elementary particle of a light. So photon doesn't consist any more electric charges. So you already known well the photons we are given with the formula P will be equal to mv. Momentum of a photon will be given by the equation P will be equal to mass into velocity. So they carry energy and momentum which is dependent on its frequency. So we name the mass energy equivalents. The kinetic mass of photon m will be equal to E by c square. It came from the Einstein's relation, mass energy equivalents E equal to mc square. So if you say m is the mass of the photon, and then it will be equal to E is the energy of the photon with respect to the frequency nu divided by c square. It's a constant value. So the magnitude of momentum of a photon will be equal to P will be equal to, you say about hc by lambda, otherwise h by the wavelength. Okay, so in empty space the photons travel at the speed of light. You know the term, it is denoted as c. So keep a note on it. The velocity of light in vacuum will be equal to 3. We say approximately 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. That should be denoted by a small letter c. It's not a capital C. So we already known well the photons doesn't have any charges, by means that it never to be deflected by or deviated by electric field or magnetic field. But they have a chance to interact with other particles such as electrons, and they resulted with like an effect of Compton effect. So the photons can be easily destroyed or created by many natural processes such as absorption and emission. Thus, one quantum of electromagnetic energy is called as photon, and the plural of photons quantums is called as quanta. If you say the energy of a bunch of photons to be named as quanta. So now we are just going to explain the duality nature of the particles. You just think about a case, we are just trying to explain the particle nature of electromagnetic wave. So you say that electromagnetic wave consists of consists of photons, bunch of photons. So now we consider the case, we are just trying to utilize the photoelectric over here itself. So we have a photoelectric cell is here, is made up of lithium cathode. When you are just allowing dim blue light, so what is happening of, you know well, blue light having high frequency because of the lower wavelength. So this energy is highly enough, by means that the electrons from the surface of the lithium cathode metal will start emitted and move towards the anode. So we are expecting current will be detected on the ammeter given here. So it's called as photocurrent. If you use the same case with bright red light, actually on the left side we are just used with dim blue light. Dim blue light represent low intensity blue light. So because of the high frequency, we are expecting the current will be detected on the ammeter here. Whereas if we are using a bright red light, so even you say intensities doesn't work with moment of the increasing the current photocurrent, as per the discussion of Einstein's photoelectric equations. So we note that even you are applying a bright red light, because of the lowest energy, we know that each and every cathode have its own activation energy. So the minimum energy requirement will be there. If the energy is more than the minimum energy, then only it will work. The photoconductivity will be happening up. So even you are applying bright red light, there is no chance of electrons will be emitted from the lithium cathode as per its higher activation energy. So by means that no current is detected. So by using of this principle, we can explain that electromagnetic radiations have particle nature. So because of photoelectricity can only be explained with photons, that is lumps of electromagnetic radiations, and energy will be produced called as quanta. So whenever light is incident over the cathode, so light consists of photons, that energy is absorbed by the electrons on the outer surface. Once all the electrons on the surface absorb the energy, and then the energy of the photon is utilized to eject the electrons from the surface. So that energy will be turned into kinetic energy of the system. So due to the application of kinetic energy in the particle nature, the electrons from the surface will be emitted towards the anode. So by means that we are expecting movement of charges from one end to opposite end. So that is called the photocurrent. So this is the explanation we are saying about the particle nature of electromagnetic wave. Now we consider the second option, the wave nature of electrons. You say electrons is a particles. Okay, right? So now we consider this experiment. So we have an electron gun. From that electron gun, we are just getting up a fine electron beams consist of numerous number of electrons which is focused towards a graphite foil. So you just find the case, if the electrons are in particle nature alone, what we are expecting at the screen, which is a fluorescent screen. So once we go for developing it, suppose the electrons acting as a particle alone, we may expect only the center ring, because we know well the particles are never to be gone for any diffraction properties. So by means that we are expecting the exposure only at the center of the fluorescence skin is expected if suppose electron is behave as a particle. But it was noticed that the electron get diffracted by means that through a pinhole, by means that we are getting diffraction patterns. So if the electrons can be diffracted like a light, so what it suggests? So it suggests that electron behave like a wave through a graphite foil. So electrons must have a wavelength just like other wave. So we just notice that electron is a particle, will behave as a wave once it is allowing to flow through a pinhole. So now on this case, what is the condition to get the wave nature of particles? The first condition is the wavelength of the wave or the particle must be similar in size to the gap of the wavelengths that to pass through it. So the size of the pinhole must be comparable to the wavelength of the particle. That's the very first condition. The second one is why we are choosing graphite for this experiment. You know when graphite is an allotrope of carbon, so it have multiple layers of graphene sheets are there in a graphite. So thus graphene sheets are made up of carbon atoms alone. So it is on hexagonal pattern. So by means that we have a chance of electrons may easily pass through the gap between the carbon atoms. It's a honeycomb structured material. So that's why we are choosing of the most relevant concept is the atomic spacing of the graphite. So likewise, once you are choosing of a proper material, we can explain or we can get the experimental proof of the wave nature of particles. Okay, right? So this experiment proves the wave nature of particles. So according to these two different experiments, and earlier we proved particle nature of electromagnetic wave by means of light, whereas the second experiment we proved with wave nature of particles. So now we coming for a conclusion that we can say an electromagnetic wave, otherwise a light, can behave in some occasions like a wave, whereas in some other occasions it like a particle. So according to the physical phenomena, we can explain the concept of, if suppose you go for reflection and refraction properties, then we say it is a wave nature. Whereas you go for photoelectric effect, Compton, if you want to explain photoelectric effect and Compton effect, then you should think about particle nature. So according to the occasions we have to utilize, or we have to say the proof that the light will behave as wave nature or in particle nature. So this is the explanation regarding the duality nature of electromagnetic waves or particle wave duality of the electromagnetic waves. Okay, right? This one is explained by Einstein first and to be followed by de Broglie. So now we are going to the topic of de Broglie waves. So why I am saying this one is important, because de Broglie is a young scientist or young researcher from the University of Paris who lived during the period of Einstein, or you say the starting with the Planck and Einstein. So Louis de Broglie is the full name, had been impacted with concept of relativity and the photoelectric effect, which was introduced on his lifetime. So he is highly admired with the concept of relativity theory and photoelectric effect. So the photoelectric effect pointed to the particle properties of light, which had been considered to be a wave phenomena. So de Broglie want to match the two concepts of particle nature and wave nature of the electromagnetic wave. So the application of these two ideas to light pointed to an interesting possibility, so that to be named as de Broglie hypothesis. So by 1924, actually 1905, Einstein explained. By 19th century, Planck explained the concept of photon. By following up that one, by 1905, Einstein introduced the concept of photoelectric effect and got Nobel Prize by 1914. Whereas by the period of 1924, Louis de Broglie proposed a new hypothesis that electrons and other particles of matter can behave like a wave. So each and every particle is associated with a wave. So that wave is named as de Broglie waves, or you say it is a matter waves. So that is the hypothesis proposed by de Broglie. So now we are just using up a very simple concept. You say the formula E equal to mg squared is representing mass energy equivalence proposed by Einstein. The same concept E equal to h nu is a concept proposed by Planck. So regarding energy of a photon. So by using up these two equations, you just find a case. E equal to mg squared will be written as root of p squared c squared plus m naught squared c power 4 as per relativity theory. If you say the rest mass of photon is 0, we already known well the photons doesn't have any rest condition, so it exists only as moving particles. Then you say m0, the rest mass will be 0. So once m0 is 0, then we have a term E will be equal to root of p squared c squared. Otherwise we very simply say E will be equal to pc. P is the momentum, c is the velocity of the light in vacuum. So from this equation we can get the solution of P. The momentum will be equal to E by c. E is the energy of the photon, c is the velocity. Likewise, if we are using a photoelectric effect, E will be equal to h nu. Otherwise nu will be equal to c by lambda. So by this case itself we can get the right hand side. We just rewrite this equation by means that we can get the even right hand side, E by c. So the ratio of energy to the velocity of the light will be equal to momentum p as per relativity theory, whereas it will be equal to h by lambda. So de Broglie compared these two left hand side portions by means that he derived the final equation lambda will be equal to h by p for photon. So you say h is the Planck's constant, p is the momentum. So p will be equal to m into v. So m is the mass of the photon, v is the velocity of the photon. So this one to be named as de Broglie's hypothesis. So the lambda, the wavelength which is associated with any matter, to be termed as de Broglie waves or matter waves. So from this concept, de Broglie explained that each and every particle in this universe is associated with the wavelength because of its wave nature. So that is the most important advantage of explaining the concept of duality nature of particles. So by following up these ideas, de Broglie provided a proof that each and every particle have a wavelength lambda will be equal to h by p. Instead of p we can write as m into v. So mv represents leading moment of the particle, h is the Planck's constant. So de Broglie formulated this equation and then later proven correct by the effects like electron diffraction. So the de Broglie's equation lambda will be equal to h by mv is practically proved by electron diffraction analysis. Okay, right? I think you understand this topic well. Now I just give you one simple problem to analyze the concept of de Broglie equations. So you just try to solve this equation. Find out the wavelength of an electron of mass 0.9 × minus 30 kg traveling at a speed of 10 power 6 meter per second. Likewise, a tennis ball of mass of 0.05 kg traveling at a speed of 10 power meter per second. So once you try to solve this equation by substituting the terms what is given here on the formula for de Broglie waves, then you got the solution. So try to do it. So once you are implying the formula lambda will be equal to h by mv, you got the final solution of the wavelength of electron will be equal to 7 Armstrong unit, whereas the wavelength of the tennis ball will be equal to 10 power minus 33 meter. So you just notice the peculiarity of the electron value of wavelength of electron what we got. So it will be equal to or it is similar to the wavelength of X-rays. So what it means that if a electron of mass 0.9 × 10 minus 30 kg traveling at the speed of 10 power 6 meter per second will have a wavelength similar to the X-rays. Okay, right? Whereas if you are considering a larger mass of body, the velocity will be very, very low. So that is a concept of duality nature of particles. Okay, right? So most of the time, if you go with any competitive examinations, you will definitely get one question related to de Broglie's equation. It's a very simple substitution of values, will get the final solution for comparable results. Okay, you just go through it. I expect all of you understand the topic well. We'll meet you with the next topic. Thank you.